Well, welcome to early June at Manor Garden. I thought about waiting to film this because I've been away and haven't had a chance to do some really badly needed cleanup from early spring. But I thought, no, this is a garden in transition, and you all as gardeners know what that's like. And I could just not miss the opportunity to show you my absolute favorite tree in our backyard. This has got to be very old and far predates us moving into this house. It's a beautiful purple rhododendron. I'm not sure of the exact variety, but the bees are just covering it and loving it right now. Underneath it, we had a good show of forget-me-nots, but those are done. They've got powdery mildew now, so I'm going to have to pull those out this weekend. And there's some beautiful sweet William. I do leave those. They just self-seed every single year. It's probably going to be time to pull them all out this year and reseed so I can get a better flush next year, because they keep migrating over to the left here. But once those are all done, then there'll be some hostas and heuchera that are here for the rest of the summer months. Rose blooms have just started on all of my roses, and thank you to somebody in a previous video who identified this as a peace rose. I just absolutely love it. It starts out yellow, buttery yellow, and then it fades into this beautiful pink. Absolutely gorgeous. As I'd mentioned before, there used to be a huge sumac tree here that fell down during a windstorm this winter, so this bed is happy in that it's getting a lot more sun. I do have a few different types of peonies in here, mainly Sarah Bernhard, which is the pink one. There's a taller peony behind that's white with pink frilly edges that I don't know what it is. And I've got I believe it's called Cora something here. It's a tree, or an Ito peony, sorry. And it just got a couple of blooms this year because we planted it last year. So hoping for a better show in the years to come. The irises are just petering out now. They did really well this year, and our wee little herb garden is doing very well. We've got some chamomile surrounding a hardy rosemary. We've got some mint. We keep it in a pot, and we keep a lid on the bottom of the pot because mint can go rogue all through your garden otherwise. And we've got both lemon thyme here and a couple varieties of other thyme in there that are flowering now. So we'll cut that back at some point once the bees have had their nourishment. And then behind there we've got some sage and chives. And of course we have an entire row of oregano. And I was just seeing somebody online saying that because I'm keeping it a bit more trimmed this year, normally we let it go to flower for the bees right away, but unfortunately our dog has suffered a number of bee stings, so we're going to keep it a bit more trimmed this year. But somebody was saying when you trim it, you can actually line the base of your raised beds with the oregano, and that helps keeps away some of the pests based on the oregano oils. So we might try that this year. Our wall in our kitchen garden here, our wall of peas. These are on one side we've got shelling peas, and then the other we've got sugar snap, our favorites. So they're doing really well. We have to come out every few days and add an extra line of jute. And I've planted some cherries Jubilee nasturtium from Renee's garden they just have the biggest leaves. I've never seen nasturtium leaves so big. One is the size of my hand in a pot I have on our deck. And I've got some strawberry blonde marigolds from West Coast Seeds. And then in our beds, we have everything from beets and radishes to kale, lettuce, parsley, strawberries, onions, shallots, you name it. And everything's growing really well. We've had a good combination of sunny days and rain, so everything is really happy. I did manage to get to the Brera. All of them had flowered out, so everything is now just the large leaves. And you'll see that's my initial attempt Inspired by, if you haven't seen her YouTube channel, Linda Vodder, I am trying to do a second ball to my boxwood topiary over there. So we'll see how that goes. It's probably going to take many, many years. We've just got some extra things to plant that are on the table over there, and I've seeded way too many cosmos, so I've got lots more for when the late spring blooms in my cottage garden are done blooming. I'm going to add those in the empty pockets. So you can see we have a plum here. It's a prune plum, and it's so thick this year. I'm wondering if I should be trimming out some of the branches to give some more light to the plants underneath, but it is loaded with plums this year, so we decided to sacrifice some of the plants underneath and their sunlight needs in favor of all the plums we're going to get. And last year we had almost no apples off of our 3 apple trees. It was a big mystery to us, but it looks like they're pretty loaded this year, which is very exciting. The peonies are just at that marshmallow stage right now, so for those cut flower gardeners, they know it's the best if you're squishing them and they kind of have a bit of give to them. That's the best time to be cutting them for the vase, and they last a really long time. And in this garden, this is just my favorite view right now. I've planted everything under the sun for a cottage garden. I've got larkspur, delphinium, foxglove, orleia, dara, amimagus, yarrow, veronica, clarkia, alliums, and probably some other things I'm not thinking of. So they're all coming out at different phases, which is exciting. Every day I come out and there's something new to look at. Here's my beautiful Olivia Rose, one that's probably not getting as much sun as she would like. This is a great David Austin. I have found it seems to be more disease resistant than some of the other older varieties I have. And the Centura Montana, the blue, electric blue, those are looking lovely. They're petering out, so I need to deadhead those. But you can see mixed in, we have asparagus fronds. We had a lot of good asparagus this year, so you have to leave a few of them to go to seed, and they get really tall. They're probably about 8 to 10 feet tall at this point. Just walk through here. You can see I've got other roses like Vanessa Bell. I've got a Queen of Sweden. And the calla lilies are also out right now, looking beautiful. I'm going to have to cut some of those for a bouquet. And I'm surprised, but I don't have any sweet peas yet. So these have been quite slow this year, even though I seeded them very early. But I've finally gotten almost everything in the ground for my cut flower garden. So I seeded the space I had used for other types of flowers because I got a little ambitious with how many dahlias I had acquired. So I think I've got 16 different types in this bed, and then I have dahlias kind of all over the garden elsewhere. And it looks like all came up except for one. Of course, it has to be on the corner that you see the most. So I'm looking for another one to replace that with. But beyond that, I have some Potomac mix snapdragons, and these grow quite tall. As you can see, one of them's at least 4 feet tall already. I have 3 different colors of scabiosa in front of those, and some status that I clearly aggressively planted because you can't even see any space between them. And then all of my stock. Now the idea with the stock was to succession plant it with Lysianthus once the stock was done, but it has taken so long to flower. My Lysianthus needs to get in the ground, so I think that's going to be one of those garden sacrifices where I'll have to just pull some of that stock, make a bouquet, and get the Lysianthus in. Otherwise, we've got peaches and figs loaded over here, And we had fantastic rhubarb this year. I don't know how many rhubarb crisps I baked. And we've got some blueberries as well, and lots of bee balm. I just can't believe how tall everything has grown this year. Look at the size of this bee balm. It's got to be 3.5, 4 feet tall. So yeah, everything's doing really well, and our raspberries are absolutely loaded up as well. We have 2 types, Tulamine and Fall Gold. Fall Gold is my favorite. I've got a leaky water feature here, so we're going to be emptying that out and fixing the leak tonight, and that'll be going because the pollinators like a little bit of water, as do the birds. And in the greenhouse you can see lots of different varieties of tomatoes from, I think we have some Roma varieties, some beefsteak, black creme, some different cherry tomatoes, and little yellow tomatoes that are my favorite. Also got zucchini, eggplant, and a variety of peppers because my husband loves his hot peppers. The lavender hedge along the side is just about ready to pop. And under our deck we've got St. John's wort, completely and utterly out of control feverfew. It was so short last year, I just didn't expect it to come back this year, and it's hiding a whole bunch of cafe au lait dahlias behind it. So I think, again, this is going to be another one of those garden sacrifices this weekend where if they haven't bloomed by the weekend, they're getting cut back down, if not pulled out, because they're far too large for this space. Over here under our deck, pardon the yard waste bin, we've got a Fatia that's grown up quite nicely. And there's a bunch of stuff in here. You just can't see it now because these hostas are absolutely mammoth. They're hiding some maidenhair ferns and some heuchera and other shade-loving perennials. I'm into our Japanese-inspired garden. We have some little teddy bear, I think they're teddy bear cedars, or, oh, there's Charlie. What are you seeing, Charlie? She's always chasing a lizard or a bee or a squirrel. She never catches them, thankfully. I've got some Hakana Cloa, so Japanese forest grass, or is it forest or fountain grass? Hakana Cloa macra, all gold, and I can't remember the name of this variety. We just planted this year this beautiful Japanese maple. And I've got a couple of macrophylla hydrangeas in here. And then I've just trimmed the boxwood in the fountain garden. And you can see that beautiful carpet of thyme is about ready to bloom. Again, it gets a lot of bees, so I'm contemplating trimming it down, but it's just so gorgeous to see it when it turns to a whole carpet of purple. Tonight we'll be getting the fountain running, and I'll share a video in a couple of weeks so that you can see everything in its full glory. We've got there's a Portuguese laurel hedge around here, and then 4 of these paniculata hydrangea limelight standards. So they've been pruned up into sort of a tree form. And I transplanted, because I had so many foxglove, I transplanted a bunch of them into this garden along with these ferns. Midweek, and I'm forgetting the names of these ferns. They're doing really well on one side, but it's one of those things where your garden design doesn't match up with garden reality. And I didn't actually realize how much sun this side of this garden gets. And you can see it's making the edges of the ferns on this side crispy. So I contemplated taking them out and putting something sunnier in, but this hedge is going to grow up quickly. So I'm thinking I might actually put some shade cloth down in the meantime, or shade cloth over these. I don't know, I'll have to see how I can fandangle that. And hopefully that will help them through at least this season until the hedges grow up a bit more. And then finally, we've got under this beautiful camellia tree that flowers beautiful pink flowers in the spring. We've got some Sarcocoa sweet box and a bunch of different varieties of hostas. Don't ask me which ones, I'd have to look at all the plant tags. Some heuchera, some licorice fern, and yeah. And then a bunch of hellebores that have finished flowering. Another Japanese maple, a dwarf, some more hostas, and some bamboo. That is a wonderful privacy screen. I know people are afraid of bamboo, but if you put in place the right preparations, namely they don't grow that deep, so we have some sort of shields of big plastic containers that were dug into the ground, so they don't spread all that much, and we keep them in check. And then over here I've got some Joe Pye weed that's just growing up, some more Hacanacloa macra, an ostrich fern, and a stilby, and some actea, as well as a eucalyptus that I'm just realizing needs some water, so I'll have to get on that. Anyways, this is just a garden update for you. I, again, thought about waiting until I had everything cleaned up following my trip, but hey, that's not real life, so here you go. I hope you all are having a great day wherever you are gardening.